welcome back to my channel. It's Megan, and today I'm sharing with you all of the books I read in August. It was probably my best month of the year. I believe I read 30 books. And I powered through a ton of books that have been on my TBR for a while. I've powered through a couple books of series that I started and needed to finish, and I powered through some books that I've been needing to review. So I'm excited to share this wrap up with you. I'm just gonna start off right away with my DNF so we can get out of the way, and that was The Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shaw. I really thought I was gonna like this one, but I just could not click with it. I made it about 100 pages in before I gave up on it. But essentially, from what I'm understanding, this society is living under this London, or the London has sank and like created a dome to protect itself from these android type creatures that have kind of taken over, and the only place they can hide is underwater. I only made it through the race part, and honestly, if the book had been like about the race and kind of how in the Hunger Games we're learning how the contestants are chosen, what they go through before the competition and then the competition itself, I think I would have liked it more. But the race and like the competition that they're leading up towards ends really quickly, and I just wanted more from it, and then I just honestly stopped caring about the characters after that. That is why I DNF'd it, but I'm sure it has its audience out there and it's worth reading to those people. Also, I apologize if I sound awful. I'm a little bit congested right now, so it's a little like icky sounding, but we're pushing through. Next, we will do the 5 graphic novels I completed of the Olympian series. This is a graphic novel series by George O'Connor, and it follows the different Olympian gods. I've already read the first 8, and then I read the final 4 plus the little comic short story that you get if you sign up for his newsletter. So the 4 that I read were Artemis, Hermes, Hephaestus, and Dionysus, and then I read The Ears of King Midas. I really enjoyed this series. I think it's a lot of fun and delves into not only the gods themselves, but even the lesser gods or nymphs, or even half gods or people that kind of interacted with those gods, and I thought the stories coming to life through a graphic novel format was really fun and really immersive and really entertaining. So I really enjoy this series, and I definitely want to get these last 4 in a physical format. I have the first 8, so I definitely want to get these last 4. Next, I finally finished the Neverland Wars series. I read The Piper's Price and The Grown-Ups Crusade. I really enjoyed the ending. It was a little bit bittersweet, but I like the way that it wasn't all just everything had a happy ending, and it really touched on like what it means to grow up. I think it was a little bit like really at some points in the end, but I think overall it ended really well. It ended really fittingly to Gwen's character, and I really enjoyed the series as a whole. Next, I read Kind is the New Classy by Candace Cameron Bure. If you don't know who that is, she plays DJ Tanner on Full House and Fuller House, and then she is also in like tons of Hallmark Christmas movies. She's one of my favorite actresses, and I really look up to her as a role model. I feel like I identify a lot with her values and morals and beliefs as a Christian woman, and like how she views things, so I really enjoy reading her books. And speaking of being a Christian woman, I also read Dig Deeper alongside my Bible study, and this is just tools for understanding God's word, which was really fun. We got to annotate it together, and then we're using this and the knowledge we learned from it to go through books of the Bible together, and I really enjoy just learning about how to understand and take in God's word in a more cohesive way, and ways that I never really thought of before. So it was a nice read, and I highly recommend. Next, I read quite a few books that have been on my NetGalley for months. The first 2 were classic mangas, The Count of Monte Cristo and Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet was in the Shakespearean literature or like dialogue, so it wasn't as fun for me because I've just never, even as a like self-proclaimed theater nerd, I went to school for theater, I am just not a huge fan of reading Shakespeare. I much prefer the translated versions, so I was hoping that this manga would be in a translated version. Unfortunately, it was not. However, I do want to point out that I think they did a fantastic job of depicting the action and the things the words were saying. I think they did a really good job of that. The Count of Monte Cristo, I had never read the original source material before, but let me tell you, reading this manga definitely makes me want to pick up The Count of Monte Cristo. It was so entertaining and so fascinating throughout. Our main character is kind of taken from his dream life and thrown into prison due to these three men, and he learns that while in prison, and he also meets a king or prince or some sort of like wealthy person while he's in prison, and this man leads him to treasure, and our main character uses this to create the character or persona of the Count of Monte Cristo, and uses that to seek out revenge on these three men who basically ruined his life. I was just fascinated all the way around by it, and I definitely want to pick up the original source material and also Scavenge the Stars, which is supposed to be a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo as well. So highly recommend reading this manga. Next, I read Aftermath. This was an audiobook I picked up from NetGalley as well. This is following a young girl who her family has recently tragically lost her younger brother due to like heart defect or something that he was born with in his heart, and they move to a town that has also recently suffered tragedy due to a school shooting, and our main character is learning to like deal with her own grief but also with the grief of her fellow classmates, and she feels this like guiltiness about, oh, my brother passed in not as traumatic of a fashion, so I shouldn't like bring him up, but she also doesn't want her entire personality to be tied to the loss of her brother. So there's just a lot of issues for, I think she's only like 12, there's a lot of issues for this like 12-year-old girl to be going through and dealing with in the height of middle school. Oh, that was like the worst years of my life. So yeah, I feel for her. But I really enjoyed the discussion on grief and the discussion on friendship, and I would highly recommend this to any middle school child or anyone who enjoys middle grade or anyone who's dealing with grief to read. Next, I read As If on Cue, and this is following a friends slash like forced friends, acquaintances, childhood, whatever you want to call them, to enemies or like rivals, I guess would be a better term, to lovers. The girl is in like a drama club and the guy is in band. The girl's father is the band director, so she's always felt this like rivalry between the two of them already, between the attention of her father. But now the school has cut the arts funds and is making sure that the band is receiving funds, but all the other arts programs are cut. So all the other programs team up with each other to put on a play called Melted, which is a parody of Frozen, and it just shows like camaraderie and like arts in schools and how they're important and all of this stuff that I really thought I would jive with and really thought I would love. I personally, like, my senior thesis in college was about how important the arts are in schools and how I want to start a nonprofit for schools whose programs have been cut to have like an after school program that these kids can be involved in, because the arts are so important to and integral to like a child's education and well-being and personality and independence and all of this stuff, and I could go on about it forever. So I really thought I would love this book, but I don't know if it was just like the prank war, or I just didn't vibe with the characters, or what. It wasn't my favorite, but I do think it's a really important topic. Next, I read In a New York Minute. This is a romance adult novel following a girl who is fired from her job, and on her way home of this tragic, traumatic day, she accidentally rips her dress in front of hundreds of people on the subway. People catch it on like camera and tweet about it and everything, and this guy like steps in, offers his jacket, and someone catches this interaction and they are labeled the hashtag subway cuties. It becomes this like viral phenomenon, and these two are kind of like forced together through the media, even though they aren't really jiving well one-on-one, and it's just a lot of fun. The guy ends up hiring her to be his interior decorator, and slowly they start to fall for each other, and it's just a really cute novel. I really enjoyed it. Then I received another book for review. This is Blackout by Kay Monroe. This is from Wattpad Books. It's following a girl named Ali Castillo who suffers from amnesia following a tragic car accident, and when she comes to, she's starting to like go back into her life, but she just kind of feels like this person that stepped into somebody else's life. Like she doesn't remember anything. She's trying to get back to normal, but she's not the same person that she used to be. It's like the slate has been wiped clean for her, and through like a series of flashbacks from that night, as well as like the investigation clues, as well as what people are telling her, she just doesn't know what to believe, and she's starting to think that maybe the accident wasn't so accidental after all. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I loved the suspense buildup. I loved the way that this author wrote. I really loved the book until the very end. I do think that the ending was a bit rushed. I wish it had gone on a tiny bit longer, or we had gotten like more of an epilogue or something like that, but I really did enjoy this book overall. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. And the final book for review I did was actually sent to me this month. I didn't even know it was coming, and that is The Liar's Crown by Abigail Owen. If you want to watch me unbox this and cry over the synopsis, you can go to this video here, but as soon as I read the synopsis, I knew I needed to read it immediately, so I did, and I really enjoyed it. Our main character is a twin to the princess, and in this like world, the second born twin is never known to society as a whole. They are essentially used as a body double to the firstborn royal, and her entire life is just built around protecting her sister, until one day the shadow wraith comes and kidnaps who he thinks to be her sister, and these two end up having a really like good connection, and it was so good, you guys. I really loved this one. Highly recommend, and I can't wait for the sequel. I thought it was gonna be a one-parter because I had flipped to the end and saw epilogue, but there will be a sequel for sure based on how this ended. So I'm so excited. I already want it, even though I just got this one. Please pick up The Liar's Crown. Next, I read A Lot Like Adios by Alexis Daria. This is the sequel companion to You Had Me at Ola, and I did like You Had Me at Ola a little bit more. This one, I wish that the like build up or connection between our main characters had been built up a bit more to make me care about their relationship. Better flashbacks, or like more flashbacks from their first chance, because it's a second chance romance. Yeah, that's my only complaint, but overall it was pretty fun. Very spicy. And then I read Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith. I loved this one, you guys. If you like Slay by Brittany Morris, I highly recommend this one. It delves into what it means to be a person of color within the streaming gaming community, but also a female within the streaming gaming community. Our main character is a very popular streamer, and she starts to receive a lot of attention from this trolling group called Docs Popula, and they claim that they are the major opinion, or the popular opinion. Our other main character, I think his name is Aaron. Well, I don't know where I got Brian. Aaron he's just kind of living his life. He really wants to be a video game creator. His mom wants him to be a doctor, but he's super into like the dialogue writing, script writing of the video games, and he's working as like an unpaid intern for this company, even though he keeps getting told he's gonna be paid. He hasn't been paid yet. Also, our main character Divya, she is using the fact that she's a popular streamer to pay back her mother and like help with bills and that sort of thing. So it's much more than just streaming to her. It's like literally her life. So these two end up meeting on the same planet in this video game one day, ended up becoming friends. But because of Divya's popularity and this like attention from Docs Popula, she's starting to get a lot of hate and a lot of like doxing potential. Even her mom gets attacked at one point. It just really goes to show how dangerous putting yourself out there online can be sometimes, which is terrifying. I mean, as a booktuber, even to put yourself out there like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think it's an important lesson, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend. Next, I read Six of Crows. This was for my Sisterhood of the Traveling Book. One of the girls sent around Six of Crows as their favorite novel. And if you don't know what the Sisterhood of the Book is, there's a group of 7 of us that have gathered, and each of us sent out our favorite books, and we're like cyclically sending them to each other and like annotating. So by the end, I'll get my favorite book back, and it'll have everyone's notes in it, and I'm so excited to read it when I have everyone's like thoughts and notes and feelings. So yeah, my friend Caitlin sent around Six of Crows. This is not her edition. Hers was a paperback, but I have it sent in the mail. So this is my edition, and I transferred the annotations from like my thoughts and feelings from her book over to mine. And just rereading Six of Crows, this is I think my 3rd or 4th time reading it, and then like annotating it this time just felt completely different and new and fresh all over again, and I loved it so much. I highly recommend if you have a group of bookish friends to do this. It's so fun. Six of Crows is just as good as every other time I've read it. One of my favorite books of all time, probably top 5, top 6. And finally, we'll see if I can get all of these in one go. They're pretty chunky, pretty heavy. We have I'm so weak. Ugh. I'm gonna pull a hammy. Woo. Okay, we have all of the Avatar: The Last Airbender graphic novels here. I loved reading these so much. Anthony and I just finished watching the TV show, and I immediately went into the comics because they follow what happens in the TV series, or like they're after the TV series. So I really enjoyed reading these and getting more of this world. I do wish I had paced myself a bit more, but I just love these characters so much. I was just speeding through them. So now I don't have them anymore, but it's fine. I'll just restart the TV show again. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my all-time favorite shows, and everything about this world just makes me so happy. So we have The Lost Adventures and Team Avatar Tales. Then we have The Promise. Then we have The Search. This one actually goes into the search for Zuko's mom. We have The Rift. We have Smoke and Shadow, North and South, and Imbalance. So these are a lot of fun. I also read 3 standalone novels, which were Toph Beifong's Metal Bending Academy, Suki Alone and Katara, and The Pirate's Silver. Those were also really fun. I really loved the Suki one. Suki's one of my favorite characters from the show. So overall, I just really enjoyed these. So that was a ton. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below what you guys read in August, how your month went, what your favorite read was, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.